Alright, so hi everyone. I breakfast. Chewing my breakfast. Is it? Okay. Juice. Juice. Glasses. Glasses. Ooh. Laptop. Laptop. Brush. Brush. Bag. Nurse's bag. Breakfast. What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Lil Desi. Hi. So, right now, currently, I'm locking in. I am reading over my textbook for surgical technology. Textbook, surgical technology. Put it all in my brain. And right now I'm just going over, so I'm just skimming through my chapters. I'm skimming. So pretty much right now, like, I am currently starting over with everything because you got to build confidence. Bite. Well, Bite. Drink. Drink it all. Gone. Bite. Mmm. Mmm. Mm. Skim. Glasses. Bite. Milk. Breakfast. Currently, I'm still trying to adjust to the studying. Um, is it you or is it me? Because I don't know. But I'm trying here. Anyway, so right now I'm skimming private insurance. If you want to stay, you can stay. If you want to go, stay. So it says private insurance. Private medical insurance programs require regular payments by an individual or group of individuals who are in turn receive partial or total payment for specific types of material care. Okay. Glasses. It says here, the Health Maintenance Organization, HMO, is another system of healthcare delivery used by insurance companies. The HMO contracts specific healthcare providers to deliver services using techniques and standards that are designed to be economical and efficient. Got it. Next topic. Management structure. Payments and diagnosis related groups. DRG is a list of services or products that hospitals deliver. For example, a surgical procedure is one type of product. A surgical procedure is one type of product. The system of DRG is used by Medicare and insurance companies to determine the amount of money the system pays out for its beneficiaries. Okay. Management structure. Hospital management and Operational staff members are usually organized into separate bodies or groups of people whose joint functions and roles enable patient and community services. It determines the hospital's administrative and development policies and missions statements, and it reviews the procedures for safe, ethical patient care. Okay. So that's where we go from chain of command. So you have the chain of command defines the relationship between management and staff members. Let's go down. Talking about chain of command. Chain of command is important for the resolution of questions regarding policy and protocol. This reflects badly on the manager, on his or her own manager and peers. So faith in that person's ability to manage. We need that. Everybody know that. Have you ever had a job and you were under terrible management? The whole business is just, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. Is the color off to you? Blue lighting, guys. No, it's oh, electronics and shit. Okay. Preoperative professional surgeon, assistant surgeon, anesthesia provider, preoperative registered nurse, physician assistant, licensed practical nurse. So these are all the people that are in the preoperative professional. So the surgeon is the patient primary physician in the operating room and is responsible for guiding the surgical procedure. The assistant surgeon is an MD license to perform and assist in surgery. The anesthesiologist, the provider, is an MD, DO, or certified registered nurse anesthetist, and is a specialist in anesthesia and pain management. Preoperative registered nurse is the registered nurse RN, holds a current license in nursing, and may also have advanced certification in preoperative nursing, certified nurse operating room. Physician assistant. A physician assistant PA is a medical professional who practices medicine under the supervision of a physician. A PA is required to pass a national certification exam and earn the title of a physician assistant certified. Licensed practical nurse is an LPN or a licensed vocational nurse, LVN. In some states have completed a 1 to 2 year program in college or vocational or technical school. Ooh. Certified surgical technologist. The role of a certified surgical technologist, a CST, is discussed throughout the text. That's not I'm reading it. Certified surgical technologist, certified surgical first assist. The certified surgical technologist, certified surgical first assist. The CSFA is a CST who has completed an educational program in surgical assisting. Certified surgical assistant or non-physician surgical assistant. The certified surgical assistant or non-physician surgical assistant is an allied health qualification achieved by certification through a National Surgical Assistant Association. Certified anesthesia technologist is a certified anesthesia technologist and a member of the anesthesia patient care team and department. Operating room educator. The operating room nurse educator may be registered nurse or CST with extensive operating room experience. Your surgical orderly or aide. The surgical orderly participates in many types of patient care services, including transportation of the patient to and from the surgical department. Central sterile processing technician is the central processing or sterile processing technician is responsible for the safe management and sterilization of equipment and preparation for and after its use in surgery and other care units. Patient care technician. The patient care technician, the PCT, is a multidisciplinary nursing assistant. Radiology technician, medical and technical radiology and professionals may be involved in the preoperative setting before, during, and after surgery. Electroencephalic program, I don't know, cephalogram technician. The electroencephalogram EEG technician is a specialist in the measuring in the brain's activities. Is it neural? No. Yeah, because it's yeah. Okay. Activities through a variety of procedures and tests, usually in special departments of the healthcare facility. Medical industry representatives. The medical industry representative is employed by the surgical equipment and instrument companies to provide guidance and training on the company's products. Cardiovascular perfusionist. The role of the cardiovascular perfusionist is a provider provides extra corporeal outside the body oxygenation of the blood during cardiac bypass procedures in which the heart is placed in a standstill. Healthcare facility management. The CEO of this health and care facility responsible for the overall operational planning and implementation of the facility's tactic plan. Chief Operational Officer. The COO is responsible for oversight of the healthcare facility with a particular focus on the functioning of the medical services, personnel, and fiscal areas. Fiscal. I'm like, what's wrong with the freaking camera, bruh? Director of Surgical Service Operating Room Server is director of the surgical service, also known in some areas as the operating room supervisor, is responsible for overseeing all clinical and professional activities in the department. Preoperative nurse manager. A preoperative nurse manager may assist the operating room director with his or her duties or may have separate responsibilities. Unit clerk, secretary. The surgical unit clerk or secretary receives scheduling requires from the surgeon or the representatives. Key concepts. We have the key concepts for this information for you and for me to know is the operating room is designed and engineered to provide infection control, environmental safety, and efficient use of personnel, time, space, and resources. The layout of the surgical department is based primarily on the principles of infection control, confining and containing areas and resources of contamination. Traffic patterns in the surgical department contribute to infection control and are strictly enforced. Operating room equipment and furniture are managed in a way that promotes safety and efficiency. The physical environment of operating rooms, such as lighting, air exchange, temperature, and humidity, is strictly controlled. Standards for these elements are enforced by accreditation and safety organizations. Basic equipment and furniture needed for surgery are kept in each surgical suite. Special procedures rooms contain supplies and equipment for surgical technology, supplies such as gynecology surgery, orthopedics, and plastic surgery. Design areas of the surgical department include the individual operating procedure rooms, instrument storage areas, anesthesia walk rooms, and scrub tank sink areas, These are restricted areas. The healthcare facility has many different departments that interact with each other to provide patient care. Coordination among department is essential to smooth teamwork. Preoperative personnel rely on departments such as interventional radiology, materials management, pharmacy, and the blood bank for day-to-day activities in surgery. All healthcare facilities have a mission statement and community goals on which they base their policies, procedures, and activities. Hospital policies are established in constellation with accreditation and safety organizations. All employees must be familiar with personnel health and safety policies. They are also required to understand the policies of the department of which they work, and an organizational chart establishes the relationship between management and staff. These are ranked by chain of command. All personnel are required to have a job description to that they know what is expected of them. The surgical department employs many different types of professional and non-professional staff. Everyone has a responsibility to coordinate their work with others and to become familiar with each other's roles in the workplace. Okay. So here are the questions, the review questions. How is the floor plan of the operating room related to the patient safety? What is restricted areas in the operating room? How does the environmental air pressure in the operating room relate to the spread of infection? Why is the operating room maintained at a specific humidity? What is the integrated operating room? What is the purpose of a hospital accreditation? What is the type of problems that problems might employees experience if they are not familiar with the policies of their employer? What is the purpose of chain of command? In many healthcare facilities, employees are asked to sign or initial their job description, showing that they have read it and why it is important. So read what you're signing, guys. So break. Oh man. Milk belly. Milk belly. Milk belly. So now we're going over case studies and case studies. So supporting the psychological needs of the patient. So this chapter I'm going over now is chapter 5, supporting the psychological needs of the patient. I'm not going to read the whole thing because there's, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just going to only look at the titles, the learning objectives, the concepts, like the words in that's italicized, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. The bolded words, you know, stuff like that really just stands out to me. And then I'm going to just keep going because I cannot just sit here and try to read this whole textbook. I mean, I could. But why would I? Okay, learning objective. For this chapter, getting a little hazy. Okay, so it says, after studying this chapter, the reader will be able to define patient-centered and originated care. Discuss the basis of human needs as described in Maslow's hereditary and Rogers' humanistic theory. Discuss a person's need for safety, belonging, self-esteem, and actualization. Describe preoperative patient fears and their bias. Define spirituality as it applies to patient care. Discuss special needs patients in their psychological care. What about spam company recording will be stopped? No. I don't know why it said it will be stopped. I don't understand. Sorry guys, my glasses were crooked. Somebody calling. Like why do people be calling me when I'm doing this type of shit? I just want to know. Okay, discuss special needs patients in their psychological care in the preoperative environment. Cool. So here we go. Here's the terminologies. We have anesthesiologist, anesthesia awareness. Yeah, I see them. I'm not saying all these words. Okay. The first thing I'm seeing right now is patient-centered care. So let's go here. As a member of the patient care team in the operating room, the surgical technologist is directly contributes to the patient's physical and psychological well-being. Empathy for the patient involves from recognizing the patient's physical and psychological needs. Every patient is unique, and a positive surgical outcome depends on holistic patient-centered care, which is based on many different dimensions of care according to the patient as an individual. Okay. Basic human needs. Healthcare workers are often required to study the importance of basic human needs in patient care. Well, we are directly dealing with people, and there's all different types of people in the world. So yeah, we definitely do need to know how to meet the needs of our patients, and people, because there's so many different types of people with different health issues, different way of thinking, different cultures, so forth, and religion, spiritually. Maslow's hereditary of needs. In the 1970s, psychologist Abraham Maslow developed a theory about human needs. His model, known as Maslow's hereditary of human needs, is depicted as a triangular hereditary of needs. This model along with more contemporary ones, is still used to describe the functional human needs. So the model is taught as a way of understanding. So I'm looking at the model now, and the first thing on the triangular model from Maslow's hereditary human needs is self-actualization. The second is self-esteem. The third is love. The fourth is security and safety. And the fifth is psychological. Helping patients cope with the healthcare process according to Maslow's model, the most basic requirements for life must be fulfilled for the higher level to be achieved. This is truly important, guys, because you can't function in chaos. You can't function where you're feeling scared and uncomfortable. I mean, you can, but there's going to be a repellent situation going on. You're fighting against your environment. You're fighting with yourself. We already have all these things that are happening around us. This chaos just erupting like every single day. 1 minute, it could be fine, and then the next something happens here. Someone dies. Someone's missing. Not enough money to pay your bills. you can't get what you need for that assignment that you need, or you can't get the person that you desire because he's playing with your heart. But Maslow's hereditary of human needs is a perfect representation of why we are so wired the way that we are wired. So like when I have to ask the question, like, is there something wrong with me because I do want love? No, that's my need. I need love, but I need the right kind of love. You know what I'm saying? I need to be loved the right way. I don't need to be breadcrumbed. My mom loves to say the word breadcrumbed. I don't need to be breadcrumbed. I don't need somebody to just see what kind of power they hold, and because they're bitter or they're revengeful because someone else broke their heart. I don't need a broken man. I don't need a man that's trying to come into my environment, my space of peace, because this is where peace is. I'm peaceful, baby. I'm peaceful. I don't have problems with nobody. Okay? I got a problem with somebody start playing with me. Yes, I do. Absolutely. Okay, so now Roger's patient, centered care. Another prominent psychologist is Carl Rogers. Worked with Maslow's and developing his own theories of personal growth and development. This is called person-centered approach. Roger believed that every person has the potential for well-being, and that provided with the right environment and humanistic experiences, people will gravitate towards good psychological and physical health. Bro, stop trying to make these toxicity people a part of your growth. You can't grow around toxicity. Why do you think poison is poison? You know what I'm saying? You cannot grow there, bro. You cannot grow where there's poison. You cannot elevate where you're around people that can't do what you're about to do. And I'm telling you this, they can see that you're about to level up. They can see that you're about to bypass them, and I promise you, they will do any and everything to keep you asunder. They will do any and everything to make you feel like you should not be going as fast as you're going. But let me tell you, when you got God and you got motion and momentum, God's going to give you that kick, baby. It's going to come swiftly. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Promise you, the whole month is going to be about swift. It's going to come so fast that you ain't going to have time to think and process anything. The only thing that you're going to have to do is be able to be ready to receive it and be ready to master and handle it. Oh, it's going to feel hard. It's going to feel unreal. It's going to feel like you're being punished. But I promise you, sometimes when God is giving you your blessings and your prayers are being answered, it's going to take a full wind storm. You know how they say, oh, why is God not giving me this? Why are my prayers not being answered? Because God knows the weight of it. God knows that he has to be able to trust you with it, and he has to be able to trust you to get it done efficiently and honest with yourself and knowing yourself, and not be so easily led. Oh, people are going to come and around you trying to make you go backwards, trying to convince you that you're missing out, honey. You're missing out on the fun. Come outside. Come hang with us. We're the life of the party. We're where the party at. We're doing everything that you really want to do, but you're sitting here disciplining yourself. Listen, you're disciplining yourself for the come up. Just remember that. You are in the season of discipline because you are coming up.
And the only way that you're going to be able to keep this cup full is if you don't make no sudden movements. If you stand fast and stand still, you will begin to reap from your harvest. You will begin to see that your discipline was not just out of vain or fear or rejection or confusion or isolation, but it was for the business. It was for the husband, the wife, the children, the house, the cars, the trips, the vacation, the people. Because let me tell you, you think you're going to go through life and you're not going to have to come across somebody that's going to need you, that's in a need of you. They need of you for safety. They need of you for a word of confirmation. They need of you of healing. See, that's what people get mixed up in this life. Oh, we're supposed to have fun. We're supposed to do this. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you want to do. So you're just making things up in your head that sound good to you. But instead of actually paying attention to the fight, you're in a fight. Before you get in the ring, you gotta get ready for it. Before you go on a run, before you have to, raise somebody on the track, you gotta prep up. You gotta get ready. What do you think? Why do you think these people are in such positions? These people are not sitting around with their thumb in their mouth, wah, 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 bee, bee, bah, feeling entitled to somebody to save them. If you are in that type of mindset, I promise you, brother, sister, bro, homies, cuz, you better wake the up. You heard? You better wake up. You better wake up. Because nobody has to help you. Know that. You go down, you're going down. You're the sinking ship. Nobody got to sink with you, baby. Nobody got to sink with you. But there's people out there that will try to take you down with their sinking ship. Because you know what? You don't ever want to be broke. You don't want to ever be broke, bro. Why, Lil Desi? Why are you saying this? I'm saying because people prey on the weak. Do you understand? They're looking for you to not know. They're looking for you to be innocent and naive and accessible to the bull, to the manipulation, to the lie, to the deception, the mask that they created because they're in delusion, because they messed up what they got going in their life. They lied, they steal, they cheated, they committed crimes. You don't know what these people did. You're just in somebody's house and you don't even know whose house you're in. Cover yourself. I put my helmet of salvation. I put my breastplate of righteousness. I gird my loins with the truth, and I shod my feet with the preparation of peace. Cover yourself in the name of Jesus, because you're going to keep coming across people that is going to be attracted to your light. You're the lighthouse that sits in the midst of the waters, and you're the only light that they see in the only safe place that they can see, but they don't want to be safe there. They want to take your promise, your inheritance. Person-centered approach. And people will use this as well as manipulation. Be careful. Psychological needs. The most basic of human needs are psychological. These involve the biochemical, the mechanical, and the physical process of necessary to preserve life. Level 2, the need for safety and security. Safety and security are closely associated with each other. These needs can apply to our health, our ability to care for one's self, to have shelter and freedom from real or perceived physical or psychological harm, all of which can cause an imbalance. So what basically Carl Roger is saying, in the physical realm, people need to be safe from any threat to their well-being. Okay? When I felt unsafe, I could not psychologically connect with my higher self. You heard? Let me say it again. When I was in a space where I felt unsafe, I could not connect to my higher self, meaning I could not hear myself. I could not hear what I needed the most for myself, because right at that point, what our bodies are created to do, our mind, the control center of all of this, what is created to do is to protect you. So the only thing that my mind can think is, I gotta get safe. We got to get safe. But I had to keep telling my brain, we are safe. We are safe. We are safe here. Right? To the point where we moved and we became safe and secure, and we know this. So now I can let go of the thought of not being safe, and now I can focus on my call, on my purpose, on my goals. You feel me? So when people are unstable to create safety in their lives, it often leads to anxiety and even fear. You do not want to live in anxiety, and you don't want to live in fear, honey. Because how could you function? You can't. You're not going to want to move. You're not going to want to pee. You're not going to want to eat. You're not going to want to sleep. You're not going to want to be in that environment. So you'll do any and everything to get out of it. But let me tell you, sometimes you just got to face the facts of what it is. Because, I said to myself before, the devil has plans for your life. Just like God does. Okay? And the devil also has traps. But guess what? God has traps too. See, you have to be careful of the wolf in sheep clothing. Oh, let me iterate that. Let me say that again. You have to be aware of a wolf in sheep's clothing. A wolf knows it's a wolf. Oh, a wolf knows it's a wolf. So if you know what I'm saying? If the wolf knows it's a wolf, but it's hiding as a sheep, what do you think the wolf was really trying to do to you? You are a target. You're the prey. You're the sheep. You're the real sheep. What do you think some of these men and people do? These men, like this guy I'm dealing with, he knows what I want because I told him. So what he does is he mirrors it back to me. Manipulation, dark manipulation at that. A wolf mirrors back to you who you are to make you feel safe, to make you feel comfortable enough to let down your guard. And then before you know it, you're devoured. You're caught up in the snare, honey. You're caught up. Can't get out now, huh? Yeah, that's how it goes. Listen, get into a safe place. You need to get rid of the anxiety, the fear. These fears can distinguish the ability to, it can diminish the ability to make decisions. Okay? Have relationships with others and care for yourself. Everything I just said. This is what, look, in these textbooks, yeah, it's the learning of the profession. It's understanding the profession. But in the profession had to come a confession, a testimony of how they got their thesis, of how things became what it was, how the structure had to become the structure to make sure that there isn't a collapse in the healing. Ain't that crazy? Everybody has anxiety, bruh. Patients have the experience of anxiety. Especially when they know they're going to go under the knife. Especially when they know they're going to be in an OR. They're going to be under anesthesia. They're going to go to sleep. And somebody is going to have access to them. Vulnerable. Okay? You know, the common patient fears. The following are fears that are common to many patients. Like I just said, patients are terrified of anesthesia. Many patients fear that they will not wake from the anesthetic, anesthetic, so, or that they will feel pain while remaining paralyzed, called anesthesia awareness. As though it has happened, the condition is real, it has been given a great deal of attention by the media and depicted in fictional movies. This has created a public fear that is unwarranted. That's why the anesthesia is there. People are afraid of death. Fear of death during, of, or after surgery is often a greater in patients who is about to receive a general anesthetic, or a radical cancer surgery. The concept of being held unconscious and in another's control increases feelings of impending death. You can't tell me you don't fear death. Because anybody that says, you know, I was laying in bed one night, I was like, do I fear death? Or do I fear not living? That's why we take chances, y'all. Pain. Fear of pain is a normal protective mechanism. However, surgical patients sometimes have the extreme fear of post-operative pain. Perhaps they have unanswered questions about their post-operative care, or they have experienced severe pain follow pain in the past. So, experience, you know. Disfigurement. Patients undergoing radical or reconstructive surgery have a realistic fear about disfigurement. Body image is very important to the psychological and social well-being. People identify themselves with physical self-image. Well, look at these women. They got all these BBLs, and some of them look great. Some of them look really good. And then some, you know what I mean? Imagine what those people are going through. You know. You got to implement. You got to build yourself. Because no matter what you do in life, you're always going to find something that you're not happy with. And let me tell you, anything new can become old. Corinthians 5:17. Old things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new. You know, when I was going through my transition, you know, God told me, he said, I made what was old new again. God will take your old rags and make them look like luxury. Renew your garments. Renew a right spirit in me, O Lord. Strengthen my walk. Strengthen my focus. Don't let me be misled. Don't let me be taken